Hey, this will be a quick review because it's a short book, but in this review we'll be discussing The Emperor's Soul. So, once again, a quick spoiler-free review. I like this book. It's a good, is it a book? A novella. I like this novella. It's good. It's entertaining, but I really don't know if this is up to how I sort of perceive Brandon Sanderson, books. It sort of lacked a little bit of that flair, because sometimes Brandon Sanderson, he likes to go a bit more funny and a bit more chill, like you get with Edge Dancer, and there's nothing really going on, but you don't really care, because she's a fun and interesting character. And then sometimes, obviously, you got, his real dark stuff, like Elantris, where there's not really any comedy in Elantris at all, but it's a enjoyable book because it's dark and interesting and it's going somewhere. Whereas I feel like this sort of lacked a bit of both, because I didn't come in with any emotional investment to the Emperor's character, because I didn't know who he is, and I think the idea is we're supposed to discover who he is along the course of a book, but because you never meet him, you never really care. You're just sort of like, so imagine if I tell you about some historical figure, I'm like, Steve from ancient Egypt, and I'm just telling you about Steve from ancient Egypt for like 3 hours. You might be interested in a 5-minute video about Steve from ancient Egypt, but would you be interested in 3 hours of it? And then would you be even interested in 3 hours of it if I told you he didn't even exist in the first place and I just made him up? Maybe you wouldn't be, because you never get to meet him. You never get to actually see him until the end, and then at the end he's actually just a fake version of him, so you're not actually meeting him anyway. So for me, so that's like one of the things that's supposed to, like, one pillar of the story, if you will. And then the other pillar of the story, I guess, is supposed to be our main character, Shai, right? And I had a bit of trouble remembering her name there, because she doesn't really stick out to me as that much of an interesting character. I don't know if if I really bonded with her as a character at all. So I didn't really feel that much for her safety, because I knew she was going to escape, because she's the main character of the story. And I knew she was going to be fine, and I knew she was going to, sort of smart her way out of it. And I wasn't really that interested in her character to begin with. So that pillar sort of fell a bit flat for me, and then the pillar of, like, trying to, understand the Emperor sort of fell a bit flat for me. So I don't know, this book just didn't really appeal. Like it's fine, it's good, I enjoyed it. It's still Brandon Sanderson, but I didn't really connect to it on, like, a high level, It's more like this is like a 6.5 out of 10 sort of book for me, at least. One thing, though, that is a couple of cool things, is I really enjoyed the character. I can't even remember his name, because I'm terrible with names, but one of the arbiters, the one who's, like, supervising her, I thought he was a really cool and interesting character, and I also really, really enjoyed the magic system. The magic system is very interesting. The idea of, like, sort of stamping stuff to send them to change their history is really interesting, and the idea that you can do it with yourself is very, very cool, and it's explored relatively well, even in such a short book, with the idea of, like, souls and forging and that sort of stuff. So I thought that was really interesting, and I also like the idea that it's set on the Elantris planet, because Elantris is actually one of my favorite Brandon Sanderson books, funnily enough. So yeah. Give us, like, if you're a Brandon Sanderson fan, you're checking off your little Cosmere list, but definitely read this. But I wouldn't seek this out, unless you're doing it for that reason. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and have a great day.